learn and get better, and they all went off with great careers.
Yeah, really did.
Hey, that's. Let me ask you this, Coach Joseph. I know Coach Cole. Coach Cole is a passing guy. He loves
Yeah,
to
yeah.
throw that football, right? And I love the run game, Coach. And you're a Nebraska guy. Tell me you love the running game, Coach. Please tell me you hadn't
I,
lost your love for the running game.
I love the running game, but I'm in love with the passing game. Get you there quicker. Because I look at it like this: the kids' attention span is so short. So a run game, it takes about 12, 13 plays to get in the end zone. If I can hit you with 6 or 7, then guess what? I don't have to use all my concepts. I can get in and get out. But I do like throwing the ball. And I tell people these days in time, if you can't throw the ball when you want to throw the ball, you can't win it. And if you look at the top 4 teams right now, they throw it when they want to throw it and they run it when they want to run it. And I think it's the old days of just say, hey, I'm a grind it out. Yeah, okay. Well, I'm gonna put 9 dudes in that box. I'm gonna play 9 box, and I'm gonna unload on your back every single time because you can't account for me. But if you can throw the ball, you keep those safeties high. But so I think you can throw the ball these days to be able to win championships. You know, you might win a game and go back to who? Army and Navy. They run that ball and throw it. You know, you got to be able to throw the ball. And I mean, when Johnnie got in the game, he was the only one really throwing that ball around the yard like that, putting that ball up 4 times a game. You know?
Tell me, Coach, of course you coached in the SWAC at Alabama State, Grambling. Tell me where you think of watching SWAC football right now. Where is that? Has it changed from the 20 years when you first started to now? How you feel in the talent wise and what's your observation?
I think right now, I think it's really more talented. I think they do have a lot of talent in the SWAC, and I think a lot of these kids get overlooked. You know, to get on the next level, that they got to be free agents and make the team. And if you take one kid and say, okay, I'm gonna put him at Alabama, he would go there and start right away. So I think it's more talented, and I think with the addition of Florida A&M and Bethune with the Florida teams, that because
We can't hear you, Coach. We can't hear you, Coach.
He must be on his phone.
Someone must have called him and interrupted his
Oh, okay. But we're gonna have to be his agent, Rocky, and call around to some of these schools and see if we can't get him on some lists. And Rocky, and I know we're gonna get into that.
We can't hear you, Coach Joseph. You may have to come out and come back in. Yeah, but with all these jobs popping open, Coach, this hiring cycle, people should take some serious looks not only at yourself but at Coach Joseph. And if an AD is out there real smart, I doubt that it's in his budget, but if he could get both of y'all on a 2-for-1, that would be an amazing opportunity.
Yeah, I mean,
because when I look
go ahead, Coach. Here's our problem. I got to make sure that I go. Bobby Petrino returning to Arkansas. Ex-back was finalized because they won't.
You're breaking up, Coach Cole. You're breaking up really bad. Yeah, you
break it up.
Let me see. Let me add him back. Go ahead, Coach.
He's still breaking up.
Yeah, you may need to reconnect again, Coach. Yeah, Coach Joseph, with all of these jobs coming open all over the country. Power 5, Big 12, Power 5, Group of 5. Are you only looking at head coaching positions, or would you be willing to coach, be a position coach, or possibly even a coordinator?
Oh yeah, I'm open. I'm open, to position coach, coordinators, whatever's available.
Yeah.
Okay.
We can hear you now.
Yeah.
Yeah, we hear you just fine.
I was just talking about Bobby, and he had an issue. And
Yeah, we
Bad
can't
breaking up again.
we can't understand you, Coach. You breaking up really bad. You got do you have your headsets in? Oh.
Can't hear him.
No, we can't hear him now. I appreciate y'all hanging on with us as we struggle through these. But I think what he was saying, Bobby Petrino was recently hired at Arkansas. And if you remember, he was once the head coach at Arkansas, and he was basically fired due to an inappropriate relationship with a member of the staff, right? At that very same institution. That very same institution. And I think Coach Cole was pointing to the fact that he can be rehired. Go ahead, Coach. I can't hear you.
He's still muted.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I hear you just fine now, Coach.
Okay. All right.
Go ahead. You go ahead and finish.
Yeah, well, and that's why I was getting around to you always talk about those HBCUs for real about their football programs. You know what I mean? And bringing in the right person. You know what I mean? The right football coach. And football is about football. A guy's personal life, unless he don't broke the law, is his personal life and him between, whether it's his wife, whether it's between or whatever. As long as he don't break the law where it embarrasses the university. And we get off into that, when I say we, HBCUs, get off into, wanting to hire their buddy or holding something against you. Something happened 5-10 years from here and from now. You know what I mean? You hire the best qualified guy, because like I always said, out of 100% of the coaches, you only got about 20% of them are winners. Yeah. That means they win wherever they go. And football is about raising money. It's about galvanizing alumni. It's about putting you on the map. And I think in the HBCU, and we get more so involved with somebody's personal life than them being football coaches, And we got guys like Mickey and Jenkins and, Coach Frazier just jumped back. We got some great coaches out there that are sitting on the side because people are taking personal views of them. And I don't think they're and that's why, Rocky, when you used to say, I don't think HBCUs take football important.
They don't, in my opinion, when you hire guys who are inexperienced, when you hire guys who don't have a track record of winning in these high-profile positions, right? It tells me that you're not serious about football. I'll go back to a place where both of you guys coach, which is Alabama State. You're talking about they have a coach, Coach Eddie Robinson. He had a really good year this year. He finished 3rd or 4th in the SWAC, and that's great. But when he was hired, he had not been served as a head coach or an assistant coach and had been away from football for about 10 years. When you bring a guy on, right, to coach your team with that kind of experience or lack thereof experience, it doesn't tell me that you're serious about football. And when you talk about what's his qualifications and the people who know the inside scoop on what's going on, they say, well, that's his line brother, that's his frat brother, that's his fraternity brother. That's not a serious reason to hire a guy as a football coach, in my opinion. That's a very personal reason to hire a coach. And though he had a really good, had a decent season this year, he doesn't have a track record of sustained success, and we'll see how it goes. You're really gambling with your football program, and I think anybody serious about football shouldn't be gambling with their football program. They should hire qualified men to lead their program.
I'm thinking we were always taught in this family is don't make a business decision with your feelings, and that's why so many, that's why there's some billionaires out there, because they don't make business decisions with their feelings. There's a business part of it that you got to get done, because at the end of the day, and Dion said it best, I don't care what you think of me. Johnny don't care what you think of him. We know, I'm a good dude. I know he's a good dude. Yeah. People can vouch for us and say, no, they good people. Yeah. But I don't care what they think about me, because at the end of the day, just like you judging me, God gonna judge you. So we try not to judge people. I think I can speak for Johnny. I never heard Johnny like judge somebody and say, oh, we're not gonna take him because he did this. No, he's a good person, man. He's a good dude. You take it for what you accept people for what you know about them personally, but if you know they're a good person, then you know what? Hey, things happen. Things happen sometimes. But you're right. They get rehired sometimes at the PWIs, and we shake our heads, and HBCU's like, no, we're not doing it. We're not doing it. And that's what continue to lose, because you're making a business decision with your feelings.
Coach Joseph, you had a very public situation, family situation. It's none of our business, none of the public's business, right? Mm-hmm. But certainly an AD will ask you about the status of it or whatever.
Yeah.
On this platform, we often get over 1,000 views. If there's someone tunes in and if you would like to say something about that, I'm not asking you about it specifically. If you were asked about that, is there anything that you'd like to say publicly about that situation so that we can get past that and put all that behind you? Because obviously, it is behind you and it's no longer an issue with you and your family. But if you like to address it in any way.
Well, I think you got to look at the United States. You got to say due process. And I guess we had somebody say that's what make America great is due process, and things happen, but then you go to court, you go to the law, and they say, okay, nothing happened. We have no evidence. It's no case. We're gonna dismiss the case. We're gonna expunge we're gonna expunge everything. It's not in the system. We can't find the case. It's no case number. It's gone. And if anybody they want to talk to me about it, I'm open. I talk to people about it. I tell people that, and I say, hey, talk to her. Talk to her. Talk to my agent. Talk to my attorney. Talk to the DA. Talk to whoever you need to talk to, and they're gonna tell you nothing happened.
But even that, Mickey and Rock, at least bring the guy to. You know what I mean? Don't go by hearsay. Bring the guy to and look across, because I want to hire the best football coach for my program. And if I got an issue or problem with that coach, bring him in. All this in the window and they understand, you destroy people's, and not really say destroying people's lives, but it's just not right and it's not fair to just haul off something about somebody that you don't heard you know, and you really don't even know the person. You know, we get a lot of that. You know, we get a lot of that. And it's not only hurting that person per se, it's hurting the university, it's hurting the kids that's there. Because when you're on a good football team, coach, and you winning championships, you going places. You graduating from school, you know, it's stuff to talk about. The school makes money, you know what I'm saying? The enrollment goes up, ticket sales go up. Everybody that's from that university feels good about themselves. And then you got these few people, you know, that want to be like you or want the limelight that keep that type of stuff going.
Well, yeah, Coach Cole, that's what I wanted to do is give Coach Joseph an opportunity to just tell him it's water under the bridge. It's no longer an issue for anybody, and it's nothing to address. You know what I mean? At this point, it won't affect his ability to be hired. It won't affect his ability to hold a position or anything like that. A lot of times, again, I've been a black man 53 years, and I understand how difficult it is to maintain a pristine reputation. And I dare to say that if you ask people about me, you can find somebody to say something bad about me, right? But don't take their opinion of me if you're considering me for an occupation that I've spent 20 years building a career in. Bring me in, talk to me about it, and let's have a discussion, especially if I'm qualified to do the job, right?
Right.
Let's not, you know, I forget the comedian that said this one time, but it be your own people sometimes, you know, that hold things against you that the world has forgiven you for. You understand what I'm saying? Yeah. The world has forgiven you for it. The world has wiped the slate clean, and yet people are still trying to hold it against you for one reason or another. And I say, why? When as you pointed out, you had heard through the grapevines that people had said some things about you that absolutely were not true, and you had to point out, hey, I'm certified in 4 or 5 different states to teach. Had there been any issue with my conduct in any way, that would not have. Each state requires a background check.
Yes.
Yes. If there would have been any situation, anything substantiated, I wouldn't have my certifications.
That's right, Coach.
So let's move on and let's start talking about my qualifications as a football coach, not things that I've dealt with personally. And again, I understand that it's hard enough as a black man, you know, navigating life without people making up things about you, coach.
Yeah.
It's hard enough.
Yeah. Well, Mickey might jump back on.
Okay, but we can get to the news, coach.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Canned HBCU coaches, and you can see, coach, we added somebody else to the group that we have here.
Yeah, HUE Jackson of Grambling State was let go as of today. You know, and
as far as I know, all these jobs are still open, coach.
Yes.
Eric Dooley, who we had on last week, and I forget the gentleman's name at Morehouse. It escapes me. HUE Jackson, McKinney, and oh man, I forget the guy, Clark. But the Clark job has been filled. Is that correct, coach?
Yeah, the job it's been filled by Coach Keaton. He used to be the head coach at Allen University. They will start in January. You know, and my resources now is telling me that Fred McNair of Alcorn State, you hearing it first on our show, that is a possibility that he'll be headed to Texas Southern University. And
now repeat that again, coach. Did I hear it right?
Yeah, our resources is saying that Fred McNair would be the next head football coach at the Texas Southern University. So that would think that Alcorn State's job would open.
Wow.
Now,
Wow. I never would have thought that Fred McNair would leave his alma mater.
yeah, well, you know, our resources of saying that's not us personally until, you know, the ink dries on the contract. But if it comes out, you heard it first on our show. So, you know, I'm like Adam Chef now, Coach. You know, I get phone calls all day long. You know, and like
You do.
some guy at Grambling now is Coach Sims. You know, a guy that him and the athletic director has a good relationship. Also hearing down at Southern University that they don't know if they're gonna give the job to the interim coach. Man, my mind is reading blank. I used to work with him. You know,
Terrence Graves.
Yeah, Coach
Graves.
Yeah, Coach Terrence Graves. So they don't know. They had a vote on it, and they had 6 board members vote and only 3, and he has to have all 6 votes. So right now that job is open, and they don't know what they're doing. You know, and of course everybody is looking at the Benedict head coach, Chennis Berry. You know, they're looking at him at Texas Southern as well as at Southern, and he wants the Southern job. You know, because I think Benedict, you know, has got financial issues out there, and they think about downsizing their program. So we don't know what moves, but these are all the moves and things that's been happening around, you know, that Fred McNair has been having conversations with Texas Southern.
Coach Joseph, 2 years ago, my sources were telling me that you were taken under very serious consideration for the Southern position, right? Can you tell me whether or not you were interviewed for that position and were you offered the position?
I think, you know, yeah, we talked. But I don't think we got to the point where it was offered, but I thought I felt comfortable that they wanted me at the time. And you know, the pay cut at the time was going to be almost a $300,000 pay cut. And
Wow.
and you know, at the time, you know, you had somebody that you know, living with, you had to explain that to them. And I think with females, you know, or sometimes else, that's a lot of money to take a pay cut at the time. And at that time, we also had Nebraska, you know, there at the time, and I had other opportunities. But, you know, your ultimate goal is to be a head coach, but not to put your family in jeopardy.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, that's one thing I did learn from the PWI side, that they're not going to do nothing to damage their family financially, you know, and they don't ask you to do anything to damage your family. Because at LSU, you know, we was getting $100,000 raises every year. You know, we got $160,000 bonus after we won the national championship, assistant coaches, you know. So they don't do anything financially. You know, they pay you financially. So when you get fired on that level, then you know you deserve it. But you usually have another year on your contract.
And they don't put all in the newspaper what you done or if you done some or who done. They just, hey, we wish you well. He's done a great job here.
Yeah.
And you move on.
And you move on. Close books.
Coach Aranda, who was on that staff with you, is the current coach at Baylor University. I happen to live in Waco, Coach, so I'm sure you know where Waco is.
Yes.
And he's luckily, Coach, not luckily, but I'm just glad Coach Aranda was able to retain his job this year at Baylor. For whatever reason, there was rumblings that he may lose his job, and he ended up having to let an offensive coordinator go. I said that to say this. When he came here, he brought some really cool, really good guys with him, and I would never want those guys to leave. But I had no idea what assistant coaches were getting paid until, you know, maybe a couple, 2-3 years ago. And with what they're getting paid, Coach, what do HBCUs have to offer those coaches who are highly qualified, who are just getting paid enormous amounts of money to be position and assistant coaches?
Well, I think right now, and what I'm hearing, and knowing guys on both sides, the HBCUs, especially the SWAC, they pay more than the Southland Conference for their head coach and assistant coaches. They pay more than the Southland. So the HBCUs, I think some of them, and they might be top heavy, they are competitive with the salary on a FCS level. I think they are. They really tried to do it. They tried to do it, and some of them are doing it, and some of them not. Some of them just don't have the resources. But I think that's when you go back and you tell that AD and you tell that president, well, I'm gonna go play $2 million games. I'm gonna go play LSU for 1.2 million, and then I'm gonna go to Alabama and play them for 1.3 million. But you're gonna chalk that up. But you can't count that against me, because it's not a 12-game season for me. It's a 12-game season for the university, but it's a 10-game season for me, because I'm giving these two losses. I'm gonna take these 2 L's for the university. So I'm doing my part. So don't ever think that HBCU coaches don't do their part, because when they pay you to come on the road to play, they don't expect you to come in there and win, but they give you a check. So you got it. That loss, you shouldn't count that loss against me. Because I'm doing this to help the athletic department and help the university, and it brings great exposure when you can go play a team like Alabama and LSU. I think credit off hat off to Coach Orgeron, because when he took over at LSU, he wanted to play Southern, he wanted to play Grambling, because he played Northwestern and he played Southeastern. So it was why are we not playing that team? Why are we not playing Southern? Why are we not playing Grambling? And finally they did it, and now those HBCUs can get a piece of the pie. You've seen Tennessee State, they went into Notre Dame. Well, they didn't go into Notre Dame for no 300,000.
They paid.
They
That was
bad.
They paid them $1 million. They paid them $1 million.
Now
that's what I'm saying.
I'm not a big fan of the money games, Coach, because I think, now this is just me, and I'm not a coach, but it's a way that the university pimps the players, right?
Well,
you point out a very good scenario of where it's really about the football team doing their part for the university, and that's a real classy way of explaining it. And it's never been quite explained to me that way.
Yeah. You look at New Mexico State. They went to Auburn. But Auburn was going to pay them 1.3. Well, they beat Auburn, but the difference between New Mexico State going to Auburn, then a Southern or Grambling going to Auburn, we going to Auburn with 63 scholarship. New Mexico State went in there with 85. So you give me 85 soldiers and you got 85 soldiers. Let's rock, let's bang. But if I go in with 63 and my depth is not where it needs to be, well, once you get up 42-0, I'm taking my starters out. I'm taking my starters out. So, and it happens, but you have to do it because you have to help the school financially. You have to help the school. You see all this stuff coming back up in the news reports about this state, this HBCU $30 million or $40 million, and the state of Oklahoma owes Langston University almost $100 million, because they hadn't paid it. But so they're not getting the funding from the state that they should be getting, because somebody's holding out on them. So you have to go play those games really to help the other sports. Like you got to help the softball team. You got to help the women's tennis team. You got to help those sports, because those kids deserve to have nice things also. So as the head coach of a university, if that's what you got to do to help other programs, then that's what you do.
Yeah, let me jump in there too, Rock, to show you why too. The PWI schools, smaller schools, been doing it for years.
Yeah.
I remember when my brother played in Nebraska in the 80s, 70, 75, 76, 77, 78, they would play Pacific University and beat them 63-70 to 0 every year. Well, but that was to help funding Pacific's football program. with HBCUs. We just really just started that in the 2000s, the late 2000s, of playing. When I was there, we played Rutgers and UConn, So that money, like he said, especially for HBCUs, is it also not only helps these other programs, it also takes the weight off of lack of alumni giving. Lack of, because the states do not fund athletic programs, so you gotta find monies from other places. But we can do a better job, and this is where I fall off at. I get to tell all the goodies, Rocky, that some of that money needs to go back into that football program, and that's where it does it. You know what I'm saying? Where you can actually get your football program to run off of itself, of all the money that it makes. You know what I mean? If you get, let's just say you get play a game and you get 500,000, but see, the school gives the football program its operation budget, and that's why some of these people like, oh, we're the football program don't make no money. You know what I mean? But it's bigger than making money because it's about enrollment and everything else. So to me, is every year a coach plays a big school, if they took that funds, 100,000 of that money, 200,000, after a while, it would have its own operation budget. You know what I mean? Because right now, what's funding HBCUs? Not only those games, but also student fees funds.
You gotta have the student fees.
Yeah. So that's why those games are important. Now, I don't believe in playing Alabama, LSU, Clemson, and the top 10 in the country. Because they're gonna put some whooping on you. They're gonna put some hurting on you, coach.
But Johnny, I'm sure if you had to play Nick Saban, you could whisper in Nick Saban ear before that game and say, "Hey, I need to survive this game with my starters." And know what he would do? He would throw the ball. See, people don't understand that. When you play those big time schools, what you don't want them to do is run the ball. You want them to throw it, because now it just turns into 7-on-7 with linemen. But when they run the ball, they banging you. Your kids getting double teamed. Your linebackers getting worked up too. They cutting you. So you don't want them to run the ball. You tell them, hey man, throw it every down. Because now I'm just rushing the passer, and it's 7-on-7, and it's athlete on athlete. What happens is in that box, you get dominated in that box, and you play a team with banging you, you lose 4D tackles, then guess what? You down to 5 and 6, and they can't play dead in the Western.
Oh yeah.
So,
you really don't have no depth in Division 1 AA.
No, so you want them to throw the ball. You want it to turn into let them throw it. Let them throw it. Because now you can get out of that game healthy. Because the thing about it is, like, at the end of the day, you want to get out of that game healthy. I remember we was at Grambling and we went down to California to play Cal, and they got this kid named Golf. We don't know who he is, first round pick, right? And they threw the ball. Now, don't get it twisted. Now it was like 42-7 at halftime. But when we got back on that plane, and I went through my receiving corps, everybody was healthy. Went through the lineman, everybody was healthy because they threw the ball, and it turned it into 7-on-7, and we threw the ball. So it made the game longer. But guess what? We survived that one game. But also, the school got a nice check. The people in the cafeteria got paid, and everybody happy.
Right.
Yeah, that's quite interesting right there. I didn't realize. See, that's why this show is so important. We look at those games as money games and as ways that the university kind of takes advantage of the student athletes. But you showed us not only can you do it, they're doing it for a good cause, not only benefit the football program, but the university at all. You're telling me there's an ethical way to take that check.
Yes.
That doesn't compromise your players physically,
No, and that's you being a coach protecting your team, because at the end of the day, those games not going to have anything to do with you getting to the Celebration Bowl.
You're right.
Those 2 money games,
All
Only
right,
thing gonna cancel when you get in the SWAC.
We're gonna, Coach, I gotta put you on the spot.
Go ahead.
Out of these openings and possible openings, give me your top three that you at least let you come to the table and give your shot at.
Well,
Which one?
I think you know, just being more familiar, you know, you would have to go Southern.
Okay.
You know, and you know, because you know, I still have my house in Baton Rouge, so that'll be an easy fix.
Oh,
Then
wow.
I think you would have to go Texas Southern because of the recruiting aspect of it, you know, and you get to live in Houston, you know.
Yeah.
And I think you, when you go to the Becca, you go to, you know, the prestige one is you know, Grambling. So you can go 1, 2, 3, and you'll take any one of them, but in that order, that's how you want to look at it. You know, that's how my camp, that's how my agent and my camp, that's how we looking at it, because we got to look at, you know, hey, you got a house in Baton Rouge already. Okay. So, you know, you don't have to hit them across the head with a big salary, because we got to understand what all these schools are doing right now. They still got to pay that coach to not be there. So you can't go there and saying, hey, I want a $370,000 salary. You can't do that.
Yeah.
So so you got to say how much you got to pay this coach, how much you owe this coach, how much you owe that coach, and they got to be upfront with you.
Well, let's look at that for a minute. Do HUE got one more year on this contract?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, I think and that's $400,000, because I think he was making 4 a year.
Yeah.
And Dooley got $600,000 left. Mm-hmm. Texas Southern is $0. The possibility of Fred McNair opening up at Alcorn is nothing.
You know, but look at Dooley gets 600, Jimbo Fisher gets 76 million. So that's the difference, and it is what it is, but that's the difference. You know, that's the difference. That's how much money they have, and that's how much money we have. You know, but think about it: you with your people love you. You know, you hope that you can go win some games for them. You know, and that's what you try to do when you take these jobs. And I think the job at Southern, you know, I think that's a strong job, because it's in the middle of Baton Rouge. You can come to New Orleans and you can sit right here in the middle of the state and do what you got to do. You know, and same thing with Texas Southern. You're sitting in Houston. I always say there's no excuses for these three schools to be losing. No excuses. We won at Alabama State, and we won when I was at Alcorn with Jay Hobson. And it's no excuse that those schools should be losing.
Now let me ask you this, Coach. In my opinion, Grambling and Southern are two of the most prestigious jobs in HBCU football.
Absolutely.
I can't come up with one more prestigious than Grambling. But is there any other jobs that are more prestigious, whether they're occupied or not, that are more prestigious than Grambling and Southern? I'd like to hear your opinion on that.
No, because I think when you talk about HBCU, I think Willie Simmons, you got to take your head off to Willie Simmons, because he's spanking him right now. He's getting after him. Ray's getting after him. I work with Ray at and I call him Ray. You know, his name Willie, but he worked with him at Alcorn, and he's in Florida A&M. They have a strong backing also. You know, so they're prestige too. Now they won some games. You know,
and I'll be there this weekend at the SWAC Championship, so I'm gonna go travel over there to see that game, and looking for at least a competitive game anyway.
I don't know if it's gonna be close.
Well, let me say this. Let me say this about prestige before we go there. Now, some of the schools are academically prestige. You know,
absolutely.
I'm talking about football. I'm talking football.
Yeah.
I'm talking football.
But Johnny, don't you? I think they all do a good job.
Yeah, they you know, when I look at football over in the MEAC now, you got to count South Carolina State as well, and North Carolina A&T. You know, because they won a couple national championships. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. I just can't hear Coach.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
But go ahead.
So you know, you got North Carolina A&T, and you know, Howard, you got North Carolina Central. That's real prestige school as well. Athletically.
Is South Carolina State still open?
Yeah. Oh, you mean the job is still open?
Yeah.
Because the school always been struggling financially.
No, the school, yeah. I mean, my thing is, and I think you we did this at Langston. You know, we had school recruiters that we sent to Dallas and we sent to Oklahoma City. And I don't know if they still do that. If they got recruiters that go, and like when we recruited for Langston, we had to bring flyers to the counsel's office and say, hey, you need to put this on your desk. Here's our flag. And I think when you go out and recruit for HBCU, that when you stop in them high schools, you got to make sure that you have a flyer in there, because you might have a student in there that wants to go to your university that don't have any info. So I think you have a lot of responsibility, I think, when you're at HBCU, because it can't just be about football, and people don't know that, Johnny, that you do a lot of things that help the university outside of football. And you hope you appreciate it, but at the end of the day, it comes down to W's and L's.
And that's why the good people of Alabama don't mind spending what they spend on coaches, because without Alabama, what would Alabama be? Without the University of Alabama football team, what would the state of Alabama be? And
Exactly.
and not that I'm comparing HBCUs to the state of Alabama. What I'm saying is the HBCU football teams provide branding for that individual school.
Absolutely.
And when I think about prestigious football schools, and I'm just talking about football schools, I'm talking A&T, FAMU, Jackson State, Southern, and Grambling. Those are the blue bloods, in my opinion, in HBCU football. You guys, and again, I'm an outsider, so that's in my opinion. And those are the blue blood jobs, and all of those jobs have been recently opened.
Yeah, and I think you're right about that. And I think eventually, I can see the MEAC and the SWAC merging, because it's a lot of these group of fives that's about to merge. Because the future, if you look at the future of college football, it's about to come down to about 24 teams. Because at the end of the day, you say what you want, it's still the same top team, the same 10 teams in the top 10. And it's the teams who have the most money. You don't see no team in there that don't have money. Liberty 11-0. Toledo 10-1, 11-1. But they don't have enough money to compete with the Alabama and the Georgias and the Clemsons. All those, we get the same schools every year. So the NCAA, these people gonna get tired of dealing with the NCAA. They're gonna say, you know what? We're gonna have our mega conference, and they're gonna have 24 teams, and they're gonna
That's the mini NFL, then, coach.
That's what it's coming down to. When you got NIL right now, what do you think the next step is? Because once you start something, now you got to finish it. And the NCAA kicking in on the NIL.
You're muted. Let me unmute you.
I'm muted.
No, not you. Coach is muted.
Johnny's muted.
Yeah, he's muted. He got himself muted.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Here's one of the things about HBCU head football coaches that they don't understand when they were choosing a coach. That coach got to be willing to help sell that school, not come with this coach and then go home. And see, that's the difference when you're talking about going out and hiring guys from the outside that hadn't been there. You got to hire coaches that got some skin in the game. You know what I'm saying? And that's why when a guy graduates from a HBCU and he comes back and take over a job, or a guy like Mickey Joseph coming from inner city New Orleans and getting a piece of it as he come through his career, knows and learns what it takes. And if you don't know what it takes and learn, like, you got to come up with your own golf tournament. You got to come up with your own Hall of Fame. You got to understand how important that is. But if you get a head coach in these HBCUs and you bring these guys from PWIs, they don't know nothing about that. They come in to coach and go home. And they don't care if the alumni galvanize, the alumni, they don't care about, really, the only thing they care about is the winning losses. And most of the times, they're going to get the losses because they don't care. They don't see it. They don't think as a head coach, that should be a part of what I need to do to come in and help this HBCU go to where you want it to go.
Yeah, Johnny, they don't know about that cafeteria going to close at 7 o'clock. Better get them kids out of practice.
Yeah. Hey, sometimes, you know, we had to break practice and run over there with our football pants on.
With the pads on.
With the pads on, coach.
Eat and come on back.
And you can't get frustrated. Hey, man, that's the way of rock and roll, man.
Yeah.
You know,
because and you can't make excuses once you know.
But this,
once you know what's going on, don't start making excuses. You knew when you signed this contract what was going on here.
And here's the difference, bro. When you start winning at HBCU, Rock, like at Southern, when I was with Pete Richard and we was rolling, we get us a starter jacket to the waist, starter jacket to the knee, T-shirts, hats. You be like, well, where's all this money coming from? Oh man, the cafeteria don't never close. It'd be like, oh, we waiting on you, coach. All of a sudden, you know, the president, man, you know, get a suite and he got turkey and everything. It's just money just start falling out everywhere, man. At Tennessee State, man, when we were rolling at Tennessee State, Rock and Mick, they sold out of hot dogs, hamburgers at a game. Everything. We walked over there to get some tickets one time, man. Money all on the floor, Rob. Money all on the floor. Yeah. We drove in great buses, you know. We got, you know, some pullovers. All of a sudden, money just come out to woodwork, man. That's how HBCUs work, man.
You know what as Coach Cole, as you've explained to me at HBCU, the head football coach has to be a counselor, a coach, a preacher, a businessman, a recruiter, you know,
a protector.
Like,
get the custodian some good old crown.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You know what you drink, man. I need this locker room clean.
Exactly.
You know
and I think also
when they come in there, they don't care about that.
Yeah.
And the place, it looks a mess.
Yeah.
We always used to say recruit ready.
And John, wouldn't you say that athletic directors got to have some type of vision? I think the guy I worked with at Langston, Patrick Simon, he had a great vision. He's always say, we're not D1. He said, but we're gonna look like D1 and we're gonna prepare like D1, but we're gonna be smart with it. So when we went on the road, you know, we took 3 buses. And I remember we go and play Tuskegee that year. The lady thought the third bus.
It's Division II school now.
Yeah. You know, and but he had vision, and he knew how to move them numbers around and make sure everybody had what they needed. So you need a guy that sits in that seat that can go raise money, but he also knows how to budget money. It's like raising a family, you know. Johnny, y'all had a huge family. I'm sure you y'all. There's some things y'all is like, okay, how do we get this? It don't matter. Mom and dad took care of it, and that's what an athletic director at HBCU's got to have. He's got to have a big vision, and he's got to be the budget. He's got to be the hound of that budget and make sure all these kids don't know. Hey, they don't even know we don't have money. We didn't know we didn't have money.
You got to make sure the housing director have his warm-up suit. You know what I mean? You got to make sure the chief of police have his hats. You know,
the bursar office. They better have it so those kids can get their checks on time. Yeah, you got to. But you think about it. I think being at HBU, you got to be a well-rounded. You got to be a people person. They got to enjoy your company, because if you're an asshole, then guess what? They ain't dealing with you. They'll let your paperwork sit on that desk for about a week.
Rocky,
you being disrespectful.
Hey, Rocky, you order your buses at 6 a.m. If you ain't right, them buses come at 6 p.m.
Yeah.
Like, hey, man, we 6 hours behind.
Yeah. So you better learn how to treat people. And that's one thing I learned, you know, that hey, when you at HBCU, you know, I remember when I was making a transition from Grambling to Louisiana Tech. If I wasn't nice to those people, you know, at Grambling, they wouldn't that actually when you got to get everything all this. I never seen you got to get everything signed from somebody when you leave. But when I left Louisiana Tech, I had to get nothing signed. Just give them my keys, leave my keys in my desk. But it's
Man,
but
when I went to University of Cincinnati and I got there, sitting on my desk, man, was an envelope full of money, my keys to my car, and my keys to my hotel room.
yes.
I was like, wow, I'm here. I don't made it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. So,
Coach, with things on some of the things as you guys describe it, other guys could view it as a hassle or even a punishment. But you guys are simply sitting here laughing and joking and smiling about doing things that are above and beyond the X's and O's. And from what I hear, you know, a lot of that takes away from your ability, seems to me, would take away from your ability to, you know, from the X's and O's. So
no. When it's
that's
X's
what
and
it
O's,
takes to run a program. That's what it takes to run
a program.
You got to mop the floor and clean it for yourself. So when them kids walk in that room or walk in that locker room or come to that building and that place is clean, that gives them a sense of pride.
Yeah.
You know? And these outside people, they don't understand. When you walk down there and they got him locked out at his dormitory or he can't get in his room and his coach show up, man, that kid run through walls for you.
Exactly. You know, and that's the thing about it. When you got those snacks in those meeting rooms, and they know they miss lunch, and you know they miss lunch, and you got them peanut butter and jelly sandwich and chips and just to get them to practice. You know, it's different things that you have to do, but it goes back what I said before. You know, HBCU is going to operate a certain way, and it doesn't mean they operate in the wrong way. It's just the way they operate. PWI is going to operate a certain way. Doesn't mean they operate in the right way, you know. But at the end of the day, you know what you signed up for. Right. You know what you signed up for, and the first thing you signed up for is to help that university day to day. Because without that university, you wouldn't have no team. You know, you wouldn't have no team because, like Johnnie says, you would think football is not important to some people. Like they just want to we just say we have a team.
When I went to Lane College, showers didn't work. They only had 40 lockers for a 100-man team. Because we went to Home Depot. The president gave me his thing. He said, man, I ain't never heard of this before. I said, man, we need to build 60 more lockers. Me, my brother, and our staff actually built the lockers, painted them, and laid carpet, got the plumbers to come in there and fix the showers so the guys can take showers, Coach.
Yeah.
Coach, we had to line our own field. Coach, actually at Lane College, I had to grow my own grass.
Yeah.
It's true story, Coach. It's true story. And we beat everybody.
Yeah.
We beat everybody. Them kids seen that field, man, and that green grass, Coach, they would run through a wall for you.
Yeah, because they know
you either do it or you be out there on dirt.
Yeah.
Getting your players. Because some administration don't understand how important that is. They just don't. That's the black college way, you know what I mean? The HBCU way. Is it getting better? Yes, it's getting better slowly. You know what I'm saying? And it depends on who getting it. That's that's the thing that you know, we come in and we want to pay these head coaches from PWIs all this money. You know what I mean? Take that money. We won't have to pay them all that money. You know, run that through the staff and then put that back in, some of it back into the program. And we will play good football.
Yes. Yes.
Well, I know with all that you guys are talking about doing for players and programs, the guys have no choice to play hard with making the kind of sacrifices of building lockers and making sure they have snacks. Because that's one of the things about my college experience. It seems like I was always hungry. You know, I was a 250-pound defensive lineman. That may have something to do with it as well, but I was always hungry. And I would have appreciated if we had I probably would have made a few more meetings if we had some peanut butter and jelly sandwiches or a few snacks in the meeting room.
When you promise those families that you're gonna take care of their kid, then once you get those kids on campus, then we always looked at them as they're our kids. They're my sons, or it might be, everybody, the kid might need something, and hey, he can't get home to get it, so now you got to say, okay, we gotta work out where you can get what you need to be comfortable, but you gotta work. And I think sometimes you can't think that, the bed's already made. No, you gotta work.
Yeah, you gotta roll up. You gotta roll
your sleeves up. Like, don't be scared if you see that, if you walk out there and there are no hashes on the field. You better get that spray paint and you better start hitting them. You better start hitting them every yard to get some hashes.
And that's why I think we get downplayed of coaching on the power PWI list. I think some SWAC coaches would be great up there.
Absolutely.
Great head coach, great as assistant coach, because they've done so much with so little. Man, what you think they can do with something? We would take it to the next level. When I went to University of Cincinnati, I'm like, is this all I got to do? Is recruit and coach my position and go home? Is this it? I ain't got to go look at the locker room and get it cleaned up. None of that.
Somebody else doing that now.
Yeah. Following the kids out, making sure they go to class and everything else.
Hey, doing your own study.
That's why they downplay us, and more coaches should be able to leave the HBCU realm and go to those other schools.
Exactly.
So y'all got, so it look like y'all got some guys watching the stream fired up and ready to go play, man. Coach Joseph, we had you on here, man, 1 hour and 40 minutes. I want to thank you for spending this time with us, man. And you're welcome on the show anytime with Coach Cole and I. And is there anything you'd like to say before you get off here?
Well, I'm thinking y'all doing a great job, and bringing a lot of exposure to the HBCUs, and I think it's well deserved. Well deserved, and like I said, if it wasn't for HBCUs, I wouldn't be where I'm at today, because I worked at Alabama State, I worked at Alcorn, I worked at Grambling, I worked at Langston. So I always say my foundation is it's HBCU, and I want to, I like to tell the young coaches that's in the HBCU, don't believe that you can't make the jump from an HBCU to a PWI, but you got to make sure that you're networking and that you're connecting with other guys that's working on those staffs, because you're just good as a coach as they are. And one thing you probably gonna be able to do better than them, you're gonna be able to relate, because the kids identify what they see in the mirror, so you're gonna be able to relate to those kids, and sometimes that's a threat, and sometimes they're not. You gotta fill it out. But I always tell, be you, dream, do what you got to do. But at the end of the day, make sure you take care of those kids. And at the end of the day, that's what I know. You pull up any one of my kids and ask them, did Mickey take care of you? And they're gonna say yes. And like I said, I'm about to have another Bolitnikoff winner coming out of LSU. And that's Malik Neighbors, and I talked to him, and I talked to Brian Thomas. In his relationships with kids that you're never gonna you're never gonna lose. So continue to do what you guys are doing, and appreciate it, and I look forward to being back on the show.
All right, Coach. Hey, I look forward to seeing your name in the headlines, being hired at one of these universities really, really soon. Thank you so much.
I hope so. Appreciate you, JC. I'll holler at you tomorrow, man.
Yes, sir, man. Yes, sir.
Right. Later.
Hey, Coach, we kept Coach Joseph on overtime. We got 15 minutes, Coach, to get through these few picks, go through these games, and then we can pick the SWAC championship and get off here, man. So just hang on with us. We ain't gonna hold you long. If you want to call in, you see the call in number at the bottom. We'll take a few calls before we get off, but we're gonna zoom through this right now, Coach. Anything else you'd like to say about the coaching firings that or the vacancies that are up right now? again, we mentioned that HUE Jackson just joined. HUE Jackson was just released by Grambling. So to me, in my opinion, two of the premier jobs in HBCU football are open right now.
Right, and of course, South Carolina State is still open as well. You know, they hadn't hired nobody there, and you know, this is still in the college football world. This week is still another week that coaches can lose their job, and of course, you don't want anybody to lose their job, but that's our business. Don't make him a bad guy. Don't make him a bad person. You know, that's the fleas that come with the dog. You know, and as I talked about some of the other movement with McNair, maybe, sources say he's looking at the Texas Southern job or headed that way. Chennis Berry, of course, is 20-0 in the SIAC, and there's some jobs opening up, and you never know, man, of things. Simmons is always, I think, looking for that big jump to a 1A job. So we'll keep our ears to the ground for our fan base, and look for some of those changes.
All right, Coach, we got a chance to check this game out. It started out really favorable for NCCU. Then their quarterback got hurt on a touchdown run. He was never the same in the game. And the Richmond Spiders, defeated NCCU 27-49, Coach.
Yeah, when I've played in these playoff games, man, and when you lose or slow down a quarterback like NCCU, because he was more than the quarterback, he was the running back also. I mean, he had put the offense on his back, and they led most of the first part of the game, but the game is 4 quarters, and Richmond, got more bodies. Came in the game a little more healthier. Of talking to Trey Oliver, and when you lose that trigger, man, it's tough. It's tough. And I always tell people all the time, in FCS football, 1AA football, you got to score points.
Well, Coach, it looked like, really Richmond was on the ropes. UNCC had scored 3 touchdowns on 3 straight drives. They had them on the ropes 20-7, and the quarterback gets hurt. The backup commits a turnover deep in NCCU territory, and it was an avalanche after that, Coach.
Not only just him as the quarterback, his presence, his leadership, on that field. That kid was like a coach out on the field.
Yeah, and I look forward to seeing him in some of the postseason games as well, trying to showcase his talent to, possibly get an opportunity on the next level. He's just that good of a quarterback, and we're talking about Davius Richards for NCCU. All right, Coach. The next one was the big one. Was a big game in the SWAC. There was nothing on the line in this game. Well, I take that back. There was some jobs on the line, obviously, and against Grambling at Southern. This was a very interesting game, Coach. It went down to the wire after it seemed like Southern had the game in lock, had the game in full control. It ended up being decided on literally the last play of the game. What was your take on this game, Coach?
I have to say, man, this is probably the worst Southern and Grambling team I've seen play each other. I thought Grambling had a great run game. It just wasn't good in the red zone. You know what I mean? I thought Southern, you could tell they got a lot of great athletes that just made plays, and that's how they were able to score. I didn't see a lot of strategy and things on them driving down. They just had short fields, took advantage of Grambling's turnovers. But one thing, it was the 50th year of the game itself, is a pillar of SWAC football, and the pageantry around the game was exciting. And so it's always exciting to watch. And as an HBCU graduate, you got to show support for them. But it was a tough game. I thought at the end, the last play of the game, the quarterback was throwing a fade route, and actually threw the ball inside when he should have threw the ball outside of the receiver. They drove down there several times at the end of the game. It just didn't come up with nothing, you know. So I didn't see I don't know about you. Did you see a big difference in Southern of what they done? You know what I mean?
No,
Well,
I thought so. What it looked like to me, Coach, is like Grambling was literally fighting against themselves.
yes.
I'll say this, Coach. I know you may want to pass the ball, but in a big game like that, a big rivalry game, when you're running the ball as well as Grambling was running it, do you tinker with the passing game the way they did? And all of their turnovers came out of the passing game.
Yeah. That number 3 and number 2, I mean, Jesus, they couldn't stop them kids. You know, they was hitting out 4, 5, 10, 20-yard runs.
But they kept going back. And for whatever reason, Coach, they would always want to pass on first down, which put them behind the chains. The running back would get them ahead of the chains, but it really backfired. That strategy backfired when they got in the red zone.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so, again, I just think Grambling, and like I say, I was a big fan of HUE Jackson. I really wanted him to win this game. I wanted him to continue to be part of the SWAC. I thought, unlike the Eric Dooley situation, I thought Grambling was better off from a talent standpoint than when he arrived. You know what I mean? It did not pay dividends, big dividends in a win and loss, but you could see progress. You could see progress, and he would have a really talented team coming back. Yeah. In the Eric Dooley situation, I thought Southern really regressed under his leadership, to be perfectly honest with you. And that's why I thought his firing was justified. Though we had him on the show, and I just think the struggles they had on offense didn't, and him being an offensive guy
didn't go away, really, to me.
No, they didn't go away. Again, you pointed it out, Coach. They had some short fields. There were some very good plays by some players, but there was no methodical drive making or anything like that. It was just playmaking by players in which got them down there. Again,
well, you got to mention the Terrence Graves, first coach to ever the interim coach on Grambling last year, and then he was the interim coach this year at Southern University. And like I said, word is our sources are telling us that he needs 6 board members to name him as the coach, but I don't think he's gonna get those 6.
Coach, do you have a relationship with Coach Graves?
Yes.
Okay, I'm putting in my request as the producer. If you can work something out where we can get Coach Graves on and talk about his experience on both sides of the field for the BAyou Classic, I'd love to get get him some insight on that experience.
I definitely will reach out to him and shoot, we get it done. I'll call him right now. I don't mess around, Coach. We got time to call him, Coach.
Yeah, go ahead.
I'll call him right now. Oh, hey, I'm Coach Graves.
What's up, JC?
What's going on, baby? Hey, look here, man. We need you. I need you to come on my show, man. You the first man ever coached on both sides of the ball and won on both sides of the ball. Yeah, I know. I need you to bless me, man, and at least give us 15 minutes of your time. Because, hey, look, you don't pay all your dues. Yeah, man, it's on Tuesday, next Tuesday. Just give me 15 minutes of your time, Coach. Hey, well, Coach, I'm on live, but I'll call you back about that. Yeah, but I'll call you back, man, and we'll talk. And definitely, man, if you clear your schedule for us, man, we appreciate it. Okay, and then and we'll talk. Okay. All right. Bye bye. It's done, Coach. We go.
You don't miss, Coach.
Coach,
You do not miss.
Look, people love me, Coach, man. Hey, look, I'm the brother they love to hate. Remember that saying? I'm the brother they love to hate, Coach.
Hey, yeah, Coach. I'm excited to interview and have a conversation with Coach Graves.
Yeah,
that's a very unique. He's a one of one, Coach.
Right.
One of one. A guy who's won the BAyou Classic as a head coach on both sides. And I'm really excited to get his perspective on this historic game.
And he's paid his dues, Coach. He's paid his dues. He's been a coordinator in the conference. He's been interim coach in the conference. He's been a part of a championship program, and he's paid his dues, Coach.
All right, Coach, our last game we're going to go over is this here Division II matchup of Benedict College, coached by Chennisberry, against Lenore Ryan. This game started out really good for Lenore Ryan. I mean, for Chennisberry and the Benedict. I guess they're Tigers. I'm not sure.
Yeah, Tigers.
Tigers, but Lenore Ryan made some halftime adjustments. Kind of, went to more of a deliberate running game, passed off of that running game, and they were able to put some points up in the second half. I want to say they scored maybe 21 points in the second half, where Benedict was only able to score a touchdown. The halftime score, I want to say, was 19-11, 19-10. I can't.
Yeah.
19, so,
I think it was. It was 19-7 Benedict.
Yeah, and Lenore Ryan came out the gate, and they left no doubt, Coach. The game was actually, this score is closer than the game actually was, because Lenore Ryan was going away. Just couldn't stop him, Coach.
Yeah,
the Benedict defense was ranked number 1 in Division II, but they just weren't able to stop Lenore Ryan in the second half. What do you attribute that to?
Well, see, this is where, you draw the line between HBCUs and these PWI schools. Halftime adjustment, and sometimes the program beats you, meaning Lenore Ryan's program, how they go about their day, how serious they are about football. Sometimes the program beats you. And in this case, that's what I think. Coach Chennisberry's team was very disciplined, but again, we always talk about, you got to score at these levels. You got to come out and score. And when you had that lead, they made an adjustment to you and slowed you down, but you evidently didn't make the right adjustment to slow them down.
Yeah, it looked like this is just my assessment, Coach. Lenore Ryan was playing some zone in the beginning of the game, was able to get them, and Chennisberry and Benedict was able to move the ball against that zone. In the second half, they went basically to man on man, and because of that they were able to use those other guys to contain the quarterback.
Yeah, you bring extra man in the box.
Yeah. So they weren't able to run very effectively, and that one-on-one defense made it difficult for them to complete a pass. On offense, it's what it seemed like Lenore Ryan did was just really commit to a power running game.
Right. And wear you down.
Yeah.
And then take advantage of your turnovers and get short fields. And now I got the ball, and your defense is always on the field.
Absolutely.
It's the same game. They play the kicking game. The game is about field position. You know what I mean? And there's 3 phases of the game: offense, defense, and special teams. And if you win in 2 of those, which they were, you got a better chance of winning.
I would say in the second half, up until the last maybe minute of the game or 2 minutes of the game, Benedict had maybe 2 first downs in the second half, if that, because they were 3 and out. When
I was at Tennessee State, we played Appy State. and we started out slow. You know what I mean? We were happy just to get there. That was in '98. And when we found out and we made great adjustments at halftime, we was able to push the game close. They ended up beating us like 42-31, but we were slow out the box. You know, made some turnovers early. And then once we settled down, made our adjustments at halftime, you know, we were able to compete like we were, should have. And of course, they went on to beat us in the first round. But you know, you got to come in there healthy. You got to come in there with a good game plan and a good scheme. But you definitely got to be able to make adjustments at halftime. And I don't know, you know, when they talk about Benedict being 20-0 in the SIAC, really, how many good teams are in the SIAC? You know what I mean? Is he playing against good competition?
Or is he just playing the best of the worst? What I did notice about his record is that he didn't have any wins against PWIs that I saw.
And you would think that, and you know, I'll talk with Chinas too about, look, I'm gonna run through and I'm gonna win my side. I need to be playing some PWI schools, preparing my team to get
for
to
the playoffs.
For the playoffs.
And knowing what to expect, Coach.
Yeah.
Coach, we only have one game. We had 3 games last week. We only have 1 game this week to preview, Coach. But it's a big one, Coach. It's a big one.
Yeah.
It's a big one. It's the SWAC Championship. I'm fortunate enough that I'll be at Bragg Memorial Stadium on Saturday to witness this game. Hopefully, I think it's a competitive game. We didn't ask Coach Joseph to break this down, but he gave us his opinion anyway, and he's pretty, you know, for what he did explain to us, he's pretty sure FAMU's gonna take it. And
be Prairie
and be Prairie View. And here's the deal: FAMU is first in defense, first in offense in the SWAC. Prairie View is 7th in offense, 10th in defense. I want to say,
you say all the numbers, and they 65. They 65.
Yeah, Coach. You know, you would think FAMU would just have to show up and win this game, but I think Prairie View has a puncher's chance in this game because, one, it's their second matchup. Nothing about this game will be unfamiliar, right? The first time maybe coming to Bragg Stadium was a shock to them. It won't be a shock to them this time. They'll be accustomed to the routine. They'll be accustomed to the field. And I just think it's always tough to beat a team twice in the same year. But at the end of the year, at the end of the day, FAMU is the better team, and I expect them to win, to be perfectly honest with you, Coach. What's your take on it?
Well, you know, one time you got to go in these games healthy. And Florida A&M played tough football. They played Lincoln College at the end. They were able to get their kids healthy as Prairie View played all the way to the end. So that's a big deal. But you know, when you look at both teams, you know, Florida A&M been good for the last couple of years since Simmons showed up. You know what I mean? They ain't been up and down. They've been steady. And so, you know, you just got to look at that. You know, when you compare quarterbacks, you know, you got to give Florida A&M the edge. When you compare coaching, you got to give Florida A&M the edge. Coach Simmons, you know, Coach Bubba McDowell, not saying he's bad, but Coach Simmons been in that spot a lot longer. You know, when you look at the offensive line, that goes to Florida A&M. When you look at the running backs, you know, Prairie View's not bad, but they don't have the running backs A&M have. And when you look at wideouts, the speed on the outside, wow, you know. So, look, some people say you throw out the records and the numbers. I just don't think so. If it's 19-7, if it's 10-7, it's going to be Florida A&M.
Now, on another show, Mr. Stephen Campbell pointed out that since this game has been moved to the home team, at the home team of the team with the best SWAC schedule, I guess. It was the first two were won by Alcorn, then Jackson State won twice, and now we're here at FAMU, and if everything holds serve, FAMU will win as the hosting team. The hosting team is won each time, Coach. And that goes to another question. Do you think this is an unfair format for a true championship game to allow the team with the best schedule to host the championship game?
Yeah, I noticed the conference administration came in and made these adjustments, I guess, financially. No, it doesn't. It definitely gives the home team the home advantage, instead of playing at a neutral place. They used to play this game in Houston at one time. I think they played up in Birmingham. Matter of fact, that's where I wanted it, up in Birmingham. So, yeah, I wish they would go back to that format of playing this game in one neutral area. I think it gives both teams, a fair shot at it.
Yeah. Yeah, I think, again, I think this is this gives the team, the best team, because in this situation, both teams, there's a difference in record, but there's a situation out there where both teams probably could be undefeated, and they simply just flip a coin for the home team, which I think that would create an unfair advantage. So again, I kind of like those championship games to be in a neutral site to give both teams a chance, give both teams fan base an opportunity to travel and make it to the game. But this particular game, my intel tells me that the FAMU game was sold out. The first day tickets were available on November 22nd.
Yeah.
And the game was sold out. So
well, what I've heard too is that hotel-wise, the conference wasn't ready, to go out and secure hotels. So I think Prairie View is staying a little further out than Florida A&M is. And then I hear they got the AKA convention down there. And and I know, we knew FAMU was going to win the championship, 3-4 weeks before the season's over. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. I think somebody might have dropped the ball on that one, but you got some teams, some people staying in Valdosta, some people staying in Jacksonville, some people staying in Mobile just to get in there to watch the game. So hopefully that don't keep or deter people from coming to the game, especially Prairie View's fans.
Yeah, Coach. Hey, this has been another great show, Coach. I can't wait to come back and report to you guys about my experience at Bragg. I'm really looking forward to it. This will be my first time ever on Florida A&M campus, and my first time seeing the FAMU team live, and so I can't wait to check them out right there. And
man, you got to tell me now. Are you going to the classic, to the real Black HBCU National Championship game in Atlanta?
Okay, I give you. Hey, I'm gonna give you a call tomorrow, Coach. And okay. I'll let you know. I'll let you know one way. I have a very special lady whose her birthday is around that time of the year, and so I could, is
well, she know. Cisco, she better. We partied in Atlanta, Georgia.
All right, then, Coach. Hey,
All right.
Coach, you always take us out, man. It's been another great show. I really enjoyed it. I want to also thank Mickey Joseph for coming on the show and sharing his experiences with us, man. It was a really great conversation, Coach. You know everybody in the coaching business, and I want to thank you for reaching out and getting me to come on with us, man, on behalf of all of our followers and our subscribers.
Hey, as I always show, man, you're going to have ups and downs in this life, man. When just not getting up in the morning, having a little bit to eat, it didn't rain on your head, you got your little piece of car outside, and you got your job to go to, or just getting up in the morning, you know what I'm saying? And if you feel yourself at the end of the rope, you tie a knot and hold on tight, because ain't nobody bad like you.